This is going to be another tutorial video from the AD&D Toolkit. Today I want to talk about time and how it's handled within the toolkit. So we're going to go to my testing campaign here, and you will see in our adventure data, we do have time is tracked within our campaign. So in this testing campaign I'm doing, we're in the second year of gameplay and 13 days. Since we started, session 0 would be game day 1 or campaign day 1, and then time advances from there. It gives us the season, the month that we're in, and we have some weather factors you can use if you choose to. Those update daily within the campaign, but you don't need to use them. It's entirely up to you. Down here, so let me go back up. We're on year 2, day 13 within that second year. Or actually in excess. 2 years and 13 days have expired in our campaign so far. So being just a little over 2 years, we're actually on day 743 if you were just to count them with an auto increment of 1 with each day that passes in your campaign. So everything within Toolkit that tracks time goes on this auto incremented time or days that have expired. So you can edit this value. I generally advise you don't, and only use that as an emergency if you make a mistake and you need to back off some days, you added too many by mistake or something like that. I can't think of any other situation you would want to edit this. I'm sure there are, but they're not coming to mind for me. What you generally want to do instead is advance time in the advanced time module here. And what this will do is when you add days onto your campaign, let's say I was to add 10 days, click this add days button, this value would now automatically update to 753. That's the day we're in our current campaign. And up here you would see year 2, day 23. But a lot of other things happen when you click this add days button that will not happen if you change the days here. What happens here is there's a lot of tasks within 1E that the Dungeon Master is supposed to track and roll all kinds of checks on. Common ones that I typically talk about are like character sickness and infections and so forth. The Dungeon Master is supposed to check for character infections and parasites every 30 days, depending on the climate and population size and whatnot. It could be once a week. But whatever those time checks are, Toolkit figures it out automatically if it should be per month or per week based upon some other factors we won't get into for this video. But you'll just have to trust me that it does figure it out. Or go watch those other videos on managing shops. But those triggers, those time checks are executed when you click this add days button here. So another one tied very closely to time is an expense calculator. The 1E DMG says that DMs should charge characters expenses at a rate of about 100 gold pieces per character level per month. And those expenses are for things like entertainment, repairing armor and weapons. You can include buying your standard or basic spell components, unless a spell description expressly notes a material required and a price. Like for a certain spell, it might say a 200 gold piece pearl or a 1,000 gold piece diamond is required for this spell. So unless it explicitly states that, I lump spell components into this monthly expense value. And you can set that value here. Like I said, the DMG recommends 100 per level per month. You can make it 130 like I did here per level per month, or 80. You can adjust it whatever you want. It defaults, I believe, to 100. I changed this at one point to 130. And then what will happen is, usually how I like to do this is at the end of each day within my campaign, when my characters go to sleep, I add on 1 day, and I just do that each night that they go to bed. And it's an easy way for me to keep track of the time. By the end of my session, I'll see here the days that have expired since the last time I calculated expenses. And I calculate expenses at the end of each gaming session. So if I was to add, say, 12 days on during this session, then this likely would have 12 days here since the last session or the last time I calculated expenses. And then it's going to prorate the amount of expenses that my players owe. So let's make this 100, which is the standard, just to keep the numbers easier. So we're at a monthly expense rate of 100, just like the DMG for 1E says. And you'll see it's still been 0 days since the last time I calculated expenses, but I'm going to advance a few days. I'm going to say that I played for like 3 or 4 hours with my group today, and they spent 12 days in the campaign during our session of 3 or 4 hours. So I'm going to add those days on. This is a little pop-up telling me that the weather is freezing. See there, we got 26-degree weather. But so now here, you'll see my day has advanced by those 12 days to day 755 within the campaign. And similarly, it's now 12 days since the last time I calculated expenses. So being the end of my session, when I always calculate my expenses, we can figure 12, what's roughly a third of a month. So we should expect a third of this 100 gold pieces per character level to be calculated for my characters. And all of these modules, their results populate up here in the results window. So when I click calculate on the expenses calculator, you'll see all these prorated values. So some characters that are higher level have higher expenses due, and lower level ones have lower gold amounts that are due. So that's the importance of using the advanced time feature over this parameter here. Is all of these checks, like the expenses calculator and diseases and shops, like I talked about in a previous video, how shops re-roll their buying and selling rates once per 30 campaign days. The days that I advance here are factored into that 30-day reset for all the shop prices. Changing the days here will not trigger those shop prices, nor any other system. So again, use this only for an emergency. Generally, you want to advance your time here. And one other thing I think I would note about time is the day multiplier. This is similar, or maybe exactly like, depends on your interpretation of it. One-to-one time, or converting real-life days to campaign days. There's a lot of DMs that use it, a lot that don't. I like to use it for a number of reasons. One is most of my sessions, the players are adventuring, and they're not representing downtime too often within our sessions. And I like to have some downtime expire, even when we're not playing, just as time would normally for adventurers. They're not going to have the energy or the health to be going out from one adventure to the next day after day. You need downtime to relax, enjoy yourselves, heal up, repairs, and so forth. So I like time to pass. A second thing it does for me that might be a little, what's the word I'm looking for? I guess Machiavellian, is I like to motivate my players to play. So if they know that days are passing in my campaign as real life days are passing, that means their expenses are accruing. They're more inclined, more motivated to want to play sooner. So I like to have real life days cause campaign days to pass. And if you wanted it to be true one-to-one time, the day multiplier would be 1 here. And that means for every real life day that passes, 1 day is going to be added on to your campaign day. If I made this 3 like it was before, or even 10, a 10-day multiplier would mean every single day of real life would add 10 days onto my campaign. Really going to motivate my players to want to play often. So that's what the day multiplier is here. And you can activate it or deactivate it here. Some people, like I said, some DMs don't like using it, so just set it as inactive. If you want to use it, set it is active. But I suppose that's about all I'm going to talk about with time, and I hope that was very helpful. See you at the next video.